Hello everyone, welcome to Winged Paper Crafting. My name is Angel Fitch. If you're new around here, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. I'm so glad you stopped by my YouTube channel. Today we're going to dive into our second alternative kit, or card, using this kit, the Daydream March 2025 Paper Pumpkin Kit. And as you can see here, you could have made 3 of this card, 3 of this card, and 3 of this card as designed. And they also came with these beautiful envelopes. And if we look here on the back, you can see here's a picture of everything that was included in this month's kit, except there was an extra stamp set that's not listed here. And on this side of the flyer, there is a picture of a additional add-on die set that you can buy. You have to be a Paper Pumpkin subscriber to buy these. And this was the one that coordinated with January, February, and March's kit. So let's go ahead and get started. So today we're going to be working with these pieces here. So I've got a piece of Lost Lagoon that's 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. And we're just going to give this a crease with our bone folder here so it lays nice and flat. Okay, and we're going to make this a tent card, so we're going to turn it this way. And the first layer we're going to put on is actually a piece of, this was a card base that came in the kit. And I just cut the card base in half, and then I trimmed this down to 4 by 5 1/4, so it'll fit right here on the front. So let's go ahead and put that on. And use our liquid glue here. Try to get this centered up as best we can. So center left to right and top to bottom. Okay, so there's that. Then the next layers we're going to use are these two. And I cut these from the Stylish Shapes dies. Let's see, what did I do with them? Here we go. So I lied. They're the Nested Essentials dies. Boy. So I used this one right here, and I used the biggest one and the second biggest one to cut our pieces here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to layer this white piece on top of the Lost Lagoon piece. So we're going to go ahead and glue it down. And just center that the best we can within that bigger shape. Okay, we got that. And now I've got a piece of ribbon here that is, let's see, what's it called here? Pretty Peacock and Gold is this ribbon. And I've got about a 7-inch piece that I've cut off here. And we're just going to wrap this around here. So I'm going to just kind of place it here in the middle, flip the whole thing over, and I'm going to take some tear and tape, and I'm going to put down a piece of this on each edge. And this tape is double-sided, and it has a backing on it, so you just need to peel the backings off. Kind of need to burnish it down a little bit to make sure that it sticks before you pull the backings off, so you don't pull the whole tape off. And now what I want to do is kind of get this centered up, and I'm just going to fold this over, and we'll just do, make sure we're kind of in the middle. I'll pull this tight on this side. Okay. I don't quite like that. Let's move that down just a tad bit. There we go. Okay, so now we've got this centered. Now this is going to go in the middle of our card. So we're going to go ahead and glue this down. And we're going to center this. get that on there straight. Okay, I'll give this a... Okay, now we're going to take this piece from the kit. This is daisies that I cut from an envelope. So here was the envelope that came in the kit. And I took this and I cut the flap off. And I made this so that it was kind of straight along the bottom there. And then I fussy cut this out so that we had this piece right here. So I'm going to use some dimensionals and pop that up on there. So let's get some of these on here. And we'll take the backs off of these. Okay, now we're just going to center this on top of our piece of ribbon. And I put the ribbon on here because I didn't want these daisies to look like they were just floating in the air. So now they've got something to rest on. So, okay, so we've got that. Now, we're going to do some stamping. So I'm going to make this a birthday card. So I'm going to use Lost Lagoon ink. And I'm going to use the Happy Birthday sentiment from the Round We Go stamp set. I really like the font of this one, so I tend to gravitate to this and I use it a lot. So we're going to put that on here. And I'm going to ink this up. And yes, this probably would have been easier to do before I glued it to the front of the card. But, you know, I like a challenge, so we're going to see if we can get this on here. I'm just going to put it at the bottom here. Centered as I can. And we're just going to go for it and see what we do here. Okay, that looks pretty good. We'll go with that. So, happy birthday. And then on the inside of the card, I've got a piece of white that I'm going to use that's 4 by 5 1/4. And I'm going to use the sentiment out of the Sketched Butterflies set here that says, wishing you a beautiful birthday. So we're going to put this one in the middle here. Let's ink that up. I'm going to try to get as straight as we can. Push down. Since this is a rubber stamp, I'm trying not to rock the block. There we go. Wishing you a happy birthday. Okay, so we'll put the ink away before we have an ink disaster. I'm going to put this in the inside of the card here. And I'm going to center this up. Left to right and top to bottom. Get it on there as best we can. Alright, so there's our inside. Now, I also have some butterflies that I cut from the Sketched Butterfly set. And I used the dies. Let me show you the dies for this one. So there are a couple of larger butterflies, and there's these intricate littler ones, and then you've got this piece that's one all put together that you could actually use to cut and maybe put in the corner of a card. That'd be cool. So I used this one and this one for our butterflies. And so I'm going to take these and I'm going to glue these down. Where's the baby one? Here it is. So I've got 2 of the big ones and 1 little one. Just want to make sure I've got these the right side. Okay, so I'm going to put just a strip of glue down the middle of these. And just a little dot on the baby one. And I'm going to put one down here in the corner. Yeah, that's right. Put one down here in the corner. And I'm just going to bend the wings up just a little bit to give it some definition. Well, let's see. It sticks to the paper and not to my finger. There we go. There we go. I'm going to put our other one up here in this corner. Hold that for a minute. Get our wings up. And then the little one I'm going to put right down here. Same thing, I'm going to bend the wings up a tad bit. There we go. Okay, now the next thing we're going to put on this is, I've got some of these antique pearls, and I'm going to use these to kind of decorate up our butterflies with. So let's see, I want one of these little tiny baby ones here to go in the middle of our baby butterfly. And then I'm going to use the medium-sized ones for the other ones. So I'm going to put one there and one there. Okay, so there's that. Now, the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take our Wink of Stella and I'm going to give our daisies a little bit of shine here. But I think I'm just going to do the middles this time. On the last card, I did the whole flower. If I just do the middles, then we're not competing so much with our ribbon down here. So there is our very quick and simple happy birthday card using the March 2025 paper pumpkin kit Daisy Daydream. And don't forget to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell, because then you'll know when I upload my next video. We're going to have another alternative card tomorrow. So that's all I have for today. Have a crafty evening. Bye.